All right, so we are basically at the end of the song, pretty much. Coming out of that solo section, we go into this sort of like halfway solo, which is that. And then we go into this lick right here. And that's basically, it's the same, this is pretty much the same thing as the main lick, but it's played differently. Not technically different on the fretboard, but the feel is different. It's got this much more kind of like 16th note, hurried, dead note sort of like almost like a funk rhythm type thing. So let me play it for you coming out of the solo, and then I'll break it down for you. Alright, so it ends basically that same way with pinch harmonics and everything, and the riff is structured the same, except what we're doing, right before that E minor chord, that triple stop, we're hitting an A chord, 9, 10, 9. And then sliding it back to get that, or sliding our hand back. We're not taking our hand off. We're just shifting back and adding our ring finger then to get that E chord. So it's instead of that, there's like an extra note before that pickup. So and those are dead notes in between there. And then we hit open E, and then A and C on 7th fret, 5th fret. And then we drop down to 5 and 4 on those same strings. And we do the same little rhythm as we did before. After that, we kind of break up a power chord, an F power chord on the 8th fret. So low note, and then the rest of the power chord. And then a big G chord. So, and then dead notes. And then C, I'm barring it with my pinky just because it's easy for me to get over there with my pinky. You could bar it with your ring finger, but I'm barring 5th fret, strings 4, 3, and 2. And then after that, I get the G either with my first finger or my thumb. And then I play the rest of the G chord, just the 4th and 3rd strings, just like I did in the main riff. So, and then you do that little pinch harmonic thing to kind of get out of it. And then the actual like outro where Slash is soloing and it's kind of fading out in the background, that riff is basically the chorus riff, but everything is doubled. So when you get to that F chord and it climbs down to the F, that's doubled. And when you get to the G, that's doubled. So it sounds like this. That's basically it. It's the same exact riff, but you're doubling that, let me see that. You go back to the F there instead of like in the chorus where you would go to the G, you do another bar of F, and then you go to the G, and then you do another bar of G, and then you do that power chord riff, and then that whole thing starts over. So that's, let me see, yeah, that's 8 bars that then kind of repeat over and over and over again as the kind of like outro solo is going. And in that outro solo, try improvising using the style, you know. You want to try to, I guess the whole aim behind all this stuff, learning other people's guitar licks, is so that you can kind of incorporate that style or that feel or that lick or the way of navigating the fretboard into your own playing. But it doesn't just happen if you practice, you know, like that fast lick that you're almost never going to be able to use that lick exactly as it's written in a real life performance, because you're hearing that, you're playing that, and you're practicing it over Night Train, not over whatever, Heard It Through the Grapevine or some other song that you might find yourself wanting to play that lick over. So the best thing I could say is that once you have like the licks and the solo and everything down really pat, that you can, you know, play it in your sleep, then what you have to do is you have to kind of take ways of or take the licks that you've learned, you know, Slash's licks or his riffs or whatever, and then kind of reconstruct them to match other songs or other grooves, you know, because if you want to play, like I said, that fast F sharp lick over, you know, like I don't know, kind of like a slower, that sort of a feel, you're not going to be able to do the, you know, that like real fast, because it's going to sound out of time, you know, and the feel's not going to be right, because it's going to have the feel from Night Train. But you can still take that idea and you can really use that idea and the shape and the general structure of that lick in whatever other song you're working on. So the best thing I can say is that you learn the music, you learn it as well as you possibly can with a metronome, with the backing track, everything in time, and then you try to kind of unlearn what you just learned so that you can reform, reshape it into a new lick for a new song. And that's really how you kind of build in the style or the feeling of other players. You know, everyone studies other players, so everyone wants to play like Hendrix or like Slash. This is kind of how you do it. You learn their licks so that you can play them cold, and then you break them up and reconstruct them to make them your own. So that's basically the best advice I can give to trying to sound like Slash. No one's ever going to be able to sound like Slash except for Slash. Just like no one can ever sound like Hendrix or no one can ever sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. But you can come close, and you can sound like you while using his ideas. And that's really the ultimate goal, I think. So have fun with Night Train. Stick on the backing track, jam along with it, and go slow. Use the tabs if you have to, and most importantly, have fun.